Okay, here we go.
What's this one?
This is the Karma Splashdown.
Caramel Splashdown.
Karma. Delicious.
Karma, like bad karma.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? For the New River Battalion, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Harrison, and you're watching Torched Ones, the show where we have answers to your burning questions and even hotter chicken, not wings today. Today, we're joined by two of our newest and yet already most influential cadre members, Sergeants First Class Parrish and Brown. Sergeant First Class Lucas Parrish is from Goochland, Virginia, just outside of the state capital. He was our operations NCO in the fall, but currently serves as our MS-1 instructor here at VT. Before that, he was the first sergeant of Cobra Company, 1st of the 502nd, 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault. He is an infantry NCO that loves country music, especially Willie Nelson and Reba, so I assume you enjoyed the Super Bowl national anthem.
I definitely did. It was good.
And he came here to coach, teach, and mentor young soldiers and future leaders. He has stated that he doesn't do spicy, so you're welcome, cadets. This is for you. Sergeant First Class Jeremy Brown is from Fayetteville, North Carolina, adjacent to the home of Special Operations and Airborne, Fort Liberty. He serves as the NCOIC and MS-3 instructor at Radford University, though before that, he was the first sergeant of Alpha Company Blackhearts, 2nd of the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 1st Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division, America's Guard of Honor. He is also an infantry NCO that daydreams about how problematic tigers are. And he came here to develop the next generation of Army officers. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. What's your experience with spicy food?
I've dabbled, not nearly to this degree. An anecdote I have is I did the Buffalo Wild Wings Blazing Challenge the night before I took the SATs when I was in high school.
Bold.
Big mistake. So that's where I'm at. Since then, I think I've been a little conservative with it.
That would make anyone gun shy, I think.
I've definitely not dabbled. The hottest stuff that I've been involved in is my son putting too much cayenne in the taco mix. So this should be quite an adventure.
No, this is going to be awesome. Well, great. Anything you want to talk about before we get into our first wing?
I think we're good.
All right.
We go for it.
Let's do it. Hey, this is the classic chili maple, one of my favorite hot sauces of all time.
One, yeah.
You want to start on the right?
Okay.
That's least dangerous to most dangerous.
It's not bad.
We're good.
You're gonna feel hungry.
You get a full meal out of this today. Those are tenders I cooked over the weekend. Sergeant Brown, Sergeant Parrish, you've been on the ground for a semester. What's your assessment of our cadre-enabled but cadet-run battalion? How are the cadets doing?
I'll take that first. So when I first got here, I think it was the FTX rock drill for the fall. I was highly impressed by the professionalism of the cadets and how they continue to rehearse and continue to get it perfect. I would dare to say that that's better than some infantry battalions I've seen. So.
Sergeant Brown?
Yeah, I was really surprised at how the program runs and the amount of investment that the cadets actually have in running things around here. From an outsider's perspective before I came to ROTC. But yeah, I've been really impressed with the level of investment with some of the, especially the MS4s, and developing a good training program for the remainder of the cadets.
Absolutely. I don't think they understand how good they are, and I don't think they understand that, as you've already said, this is an environment which they can control a lot, and going to organizations in the Army where you control a lot less can be problematic. So they're learning really good lessons doing stuff here. Now, Sergeant Parrish, you've been a Hokie fan most of, if not all of your life. Did you ever get in a fight over Tech versus UVA back in Goochland? Or did you ever have to defend your fandom?
Yeah, so Goochland has a lot of UVA fans. And growing up, my dad always explained to me that Virginia Tech is like the blue-collar school of the state. And then UVA is like the white-collar. So we always had like the blue-collar, white-collar dispute. Never a fist fight, but definitely a lot of huge arguments about who's better.
You ready to move on?
I suppose.
Okay, here we go.
What's this one?
This is the Karma Splashdown.
Caramel splashdown.
Karma. Delicious.
Karma, like bad karma.
Yeah. I think there's a song about bad karma.
I think it's good karma. It's good stuff.
It wasn't really
Interesting. Really? Well, gents, you've both done rotational deployments to Europe with two of our Army's most storied divisions, which are well known for their role in breaching Fortress Europe through an airborne assault on D-Day and then fighting through to the end of the war. Sometimes airborne and sometimes not, sometimes just as infantry. What is your assessment of our NATO partners from doing training with them? And did they ever bring up the storied history of our divisions?
The biggest shortcoming, I think, for the NATO as a whole is the communications piece.
Yeah, it's hard to communicate across several languages simultaneously. Yeah. Did they ever talk to you about the 101st or anything like that, or did locals bring it up?
Not so much in Hungary. When I was there last year, it was super historic for the 101st to be back in Europe. Mm-hmm. Not so much from the NATO partners when I was in Hungary. I know they went to certain parts of Eastern Europe and did celebrations, but my company was not chosen for that.
Yeah, personally, no, I haven't done a whole lot of training in depth with our NATO allies. I've gone to Holland and Belgium the last 2 years, and I've competed with them. So it's kind of an exhibition of what their militaries are capable of. But all in all, I mean, to your point, I think it's really interesting, especially in that part of the world, seeing how they revere their military history, especially our contributions to it.
Interesting.
So, for instance, when I was in Holland, I spent a lot of time in the city of Arnhem, which is where a bridge too far took place. Huge historical piece for not only the American Airborne and the British Airborne as well. The entire city almost kind of breathed the Operation Market Garden history.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. So thank you, General Fullhart, and the comm staff folks who reached out. I get to go on the Global Scholars trip to be a teaching assistant in class with Lieutenant Colonel Don Russell and be a co-chaperone with them. We're going to fly into Amsterdam and start up there, start with Market Garden, make our way down the Westwall, the Siegfried Line, look at awesome. Battle of the Bulge sites, all kinds of stuff, the Hurricane Forest. It is surreal that I get to go see that, much less by the time we're there, I'll know which battalion I'm slated to command in, which is a good chance it's one of these. So it's a direct connection to my future and to my past. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it'll be a good trip. Just watch your speed.
Oh yeah?
Oh, yeah.
In the Netherlands or where?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. 35 kilometers an hour means 35?
They don't have police over there. They've got just cameras that...
If you rent a car before you turn it back in, they'll make you pay the ticket.
Oh my goodness. When in Rome. All right. You ready to jump up? Anything you want to talk about before we go?
Did you leave a piece there from the last one?
You didn't know we were supposed to eat the whole thing.
You don't have to. There's no rules here. There's no rules here. All right. Here we go.
It's a competition, though, right? So
that is the culture of the infantry. This is the Chicho Ghost. It's one of my favorite sauces, period. All right, we're going to bring back one of our best recurring sequences. Explain that, Graham. So I've been able to, with your help and then with my own sleuthing a little bit, I found some pictures that I'd like you to talk about. So first up, Sergeant Brown, this is the famous report where the phrase "devils in baggy pants" comes from. What does that mean to you?
So, the entire time I've been in the 82nd Airborne Division, I was assigned to 1st Brigade Combat Team twice now. During the Second World War, a German position was occupied. We seized some terrain and came upon a Nazi diary journal, whatever you want to call it. In there was an entry from one of the German soldiers that mentions the devils in baggy pants are just ahead of us. They're on the opposite side of this. We can't sleep at night. These guys are just harassing us to no end. And we adopted that. The devils in baggy pants is sort of the motto, the emblem of that brigade combat team.
But if you don't know, for context, obviously paratroopers were jumping in, and what became a modification originally in the 101st, jumping into Italy, if I'm not mistaken, and then adopted by the 82nd before everyone jumped into mainland Europe. They would graft on larger cargo pockets on the side from some of the existing material, and that's why they had these giant pockets to carry more stuff in when they jumped. Now, generally, they started to remove them as they kept fighting and not jumping less and a lot of walking. Like, these are kind of a liability sometimes. Like trying to slip through hedgerows with baggy pants, probably very challenging. That's the origin of the name. Can you tell us what's going on in this picture?
Yeah, so this was 2 years ago. This was one of my trips to the Netherlands right there. That's called the Van Wiggen Cup. That was the award ceremony. The team that I was responsible for, it's a marksmanship competition. So it's service rifle and pistol. The team I was in charge of, the team I was coaching, was the rifle portion of it, and we placed second amongst all the teams over there. So we were awarded.
That's awesome. How long was the competition?
So it's 1 day worth of competition right there, but that in the European fashion, that's preceded by some partying and
that is pretty classic. I told you I'm sneaky.
Dead air here.
Yeah.
Sorry, cursive.
That's why I'm drinking water. It's really not that bad.
Doing fine so far.
So finally, what's the context of this photo?
So it's a portion of a photo. My platoon took a photo. That is on the flight line at Hamid Karzai International Airport, probably around August 20th or so of 2021. I was in the brigade that was sent to Afghanistan to assist in the evacuations, the NEO operation we conducted there. It's probably one of my favorite pictures I've taken in the Army. You can see, it's got my entire platoon right in there.
Yeah, unmistakable mountain outline. I will never forget that as long as I live. What's crazy is your brigade 3 at the time is one of my classmates from West Point, and we were trying to work together through the unofficial side because communication was so disrupted and so hard to get some of my Afghan colleagues from before out. In particular, we were trying to get Second Lieutenant Ahmad Rashid Mahmoudi's family out. He was Sergeant Mahmoudi at the time, but his mother, his sister, and his niece were in Kabul. Unfortunately, his father had passed away the year prior, and they had no male relatives, and it was really, really challenging for them to move around without the Taliban snatch them up. They weren't able to get out there, but they got out through this incredible story, which I hope is a movie one day, out of Mazar-e Sharif, out of Mez. But yeah, wild. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, there was throughout the entire duration of that mission, I got handed a bunch of cell phones with some American voice on the other side saying, "Hey, oh my God."
Yeah. That could be a whole thing unto itself, but pretty awesome. All right, Sergeant Parrish, this looks like a pretty special moment. What's going on?
So yeah, that was a super special day. So my son, who's now 23, he graduated OSET.
Could you explain what that is for folks who aren't familiar?
So that's one station unit training. I got to pin his blue cord on that day, so it was pretty awesome. Definitely an emotional event for my family and my wife, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
What was going on in this?
Okay, so that was in
Pulaski, right?
Yeah, that was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh, Pulaski County, Missouri.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Pulaski County, Missouri, where I was a drill sergeant at. So we took land, and I've experienced some pig wrestling before, or pig catching, whatever. So they take all the little piglets, they douse them in baby oil, and they let them all go. And the kids have to go catch them and take them back to one person, and whoever catches the most gets a prize. It's the first time my wife has ever seen it, so it was a significant emotional event for her. Obviously, Landon is pretty small in that picture, my youngest. He definitely enjoyed it, but for Christine, it was pretty emotional.
She's a little concerned?
Yeah, she's from the city.
Okay.
Well, she's a cityer girl,
Yeah.
like suburbs, and I'm from the country in Houston. So.
Cool. I enjoyed the video. That was fun.
Oh yeah, it was.
And
good.
your guys' clear enjoyment of him doing it. That was pretty fun.
It was awesome. He had a great time.
Finally, would you mind sharing what's going on in this photo?
So that, oh man,
That's a we're in there.
I'm a little embarrassed about the hat. I'm embarrassed about the hat, right? But as an infantryman, if you get assigned to a cav squadron and you're in a leadership position, they tell you have to wear it, right? But the picture itself is myself and Clint Romachet. He's a Medal of Honor winner from B Troop 361 Cav for Cop Keating. He came and spoke one day to the squadron, and we just got to hang out. Excuse me.
It's awesome. We're really fortunate to have Clint Roche visiting the program this spring and get to talk to our cadets. So that's going to be once in a lifetime opportunity for them, and I cannot wait to meet him and shake his hand. Was it called Destroyer Squadron then, or did it have a different call sign?
It was Destroyer.
It was? Okay. So for those who don't know, I was in that same brigade. It's now 2nd Brigade, 4th ID. At the time, it was 4th Brigade, 4th ID. Mountain Warrior Brigade was an IBCT.
They reflagged it when I was there.
Yeah, it's now an SBCT, and General George, our Chief of Staff, was the brigade commander. So pretty wild. I was in 112, which is one of the battalions adjacent to 361, and knock on wood, headed back there summer of 25. We'll see what happens. All right.
I'll come back down and work for you.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to need a couple first sergeants and ops armator, and if you want to jump into one of those.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right, here we go. You ready? This is Zuzu's 7 pot. It's good. But this is where it gets a little real. This is 620,000.
It's starting to get real right now.
Who comes up with the names?
Oh yeah, that's what we did.
It's really good though. So start Parrish. You had gauge earrings, a lip ring, and you worked as a bouncer and a bartender in Richmond before you joined the Army. That is unusual. What sparked your jump to change the whole, lifestyle and join the Army?
So without telling the whole internet my business,
Please say it was the movie Roadhouse.
It's my way or the highway.
not Roadhouse. So got out of high school. My whole family was in law enforcement at that point, so I had been under the thumb the entire time. So I decided that I needed to move out. And what better place than Shockoe Bottom, Richmond, Virginia, where there's clubs and tattoo parlors and all kind of stuff. So I moved in with a roommate down there, and I became a bartender and a bouncer, and I was dating somebody that lived down there. So I had triple zeros in my ears. I had my septum pierced, my other blade pierced. But needless to say, I'm not the same person. So what sparked it? About 4 years later, I woke up and I'd heard it from my parents, my grandparents, all that stuff. I kind of need to do something with my life. So I got up one morning, I went to a recruiting station, and 2 weeks later, I was in basic training. Well, it's kind of like the light bulb went off in my head. It was like, okay, you can't do this all the time. You can't do it for the rest of your life. So and here I sat, right? And just like any other lieutenant/enlisted soldier, I didn't come in the Army to think that I was going to do 20 years or 25 years. Like I thought it was a way out of town. I would come back 4 years later, get a job as a cop or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm here, right? And I'm super glad I am.
The cadets ask all the time, and I tell them, for the vast majority of us, there was at least once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times where you're like, is this really what I want? And you should be making that assessment. But yeah, to your point, not a lot of people say, I'm going to serve a career as soon as they sign up and then never change their mind.
To me, the part that makes it a career is your family, right? And to your point, there's several times throughout your career that you're like, do I want to continue this? And without the support of my family, I could have never done it.
Absolutely. And then I think what's unique to our lifestyle too.
It's a little hot.
Yeah. We have the advantage of expanding that family group, right? There's the family you get to choose, the people you bring into your circle. And I think that's fairly unique to the military. Sergeant Brown, we all knew this discussion was going to come up with this particular group.
Let's get ready to rumble!
We're going to address the elephant in the room.
For the record, my brother relinquished command of 1st Battalion, 187th Infantry, and 3rd Brigade, 101st, and I try not to hold any grudges. I've OCT'd both divisions at JRTC. They're very similar. I often say they have nearly identical strengths and weaknesses, culturally and organizationally. And I'm wearing my 480 combat patch today just to try to be neutral, but I'm definitely partial to the 82nd since that was my first unit of assignment. But knowing that,
Jumping out of airplanes is impractical.
why do you think that there's such a mostly friendly rivalry between 101st and the 82nd?
Well, I mean, mostly friendly rivalry. I mean, it's a friendly rivalry because easily both divisions can be assigned to the same mission.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they have a very similar origin, right? The same jumps.
Similar history, very, very, cut from the same cloth, if you will. At the end of the day, once we depart our aerial asset that gets us to the battlefield, we are both light infantry divisions. We're going to move around the battlefield in very similar ways. Having said that,
No, it's good. I've always enjoyed that. My brother had never served in the 101st, and he actually had to go to air assault school before he took command because he wasn't yet air assault qualified. I thought it's emblematic of what makes that division unique. But same thing, the 82nd, it's like, no, you will be a jump master before you're given the opportunity to be in what we call green tab leadership positions. Yeah. These key command billets. So both divisions have that in common too. Guys, you're doing phenomenal. You're almost at the end of the path, but now it's time when we get to the top of the volcano and do a belly flop right in the middle. This is the last dab. It's the Carolina Reaper Special Edition. All the last dabs are pretty similar, and it is customary around here to add a little something extra. You don't have to, but people may judge.
Yeah.
And if you want to go bigger, I'll go bigger with you, but it's up to you.
We got one of those Red Bull cans so you can see how big we're going.
viscous.
It is.
Oh yeah, thanks. Appreciate
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Cheers. Godspeed. Well done. Sergeant Brown, as the last dab sets fire to our lips, tongues, throats, and souls,
Conveniently timed.
Yeah.
you've got to share the story about crashing a fire truck into a wall to create an obstacle. What happened?
All right. Let an expletive loose. So it was during the Kabul mission. We were getting ready to exfil. The days were coming to an end. As final preparations were going into place, we started building an obstacle belt around the airfield.
Okay.
So that friendlies could depart our positions, load aircraft, while attempting to delay any ne'er-do-wells from breaching the airport. So my platoon was in charge of a position known as North Gate, and a couple of high-speed afternoons approach leading in North Gate onto the rest of this.
Yeah.
So I was trying to build some obstacles, and class 4 was pretty limited. There was not getting any more. But there was a fire truck right there. So I thought to myself, hey, I could block that road off with that fire truck. So I hopped in it with my medic. We figured out how to hotwire a fire truck, which is pretty cool. We had this kind of moment where we buckled ourselves in, we strapped our helmets on, looked at each other, and put it in drive. And then, as fast as I could get going in about 100 meters, drove it down the road and just wedged it in between some T-walls and some other, Jersey barriers right there as tightly as I could, and then just covered the whole thing with wire.
Wow. Wow.
Was it hold my Red Bull and watch this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it red or was it like the airport?
It was a red fire truck, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Sergeant Parrish, time to bring us home.
All right.
You and First World Alarm Sergeant Banfield both served in 114 in Hawaii. You and I both served in the same brigade, 4th Infantry Division. And you and almost all of our NCOs have served as drill instructors and recruiters over the course of your career. What's it like to serve on this team with this group of senior NCOs? How does it compare to those units, and what do you think about that group?
So basically, I think I was not expecting the level of catch rate when I came here. I'm super surprised by the level of their professionalism and expertise. You don't always find that at special duty assignments. I had really good drill sergeants and I had really bad drill sergeants. So to me, that's the difference. This is a great organization. I'm super happy to be here and impressed.
Awesome.
I'm dying, bro.
This one sucks.
Well, Devin, you did it. You've conquered Mount Doom. We're done. This camera, this camera, this camera. Tell the people what you got going on in your life.
Right now, I'm just trying to, visit with some of my faculties.
Yeah.
Otherwise, looking forward to warm weather and motorcycle season.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to Sam Brown and I both getting promoted for sure.
Great point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's going to be a pretty awesome day. Pretty awesome day.
Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for joining us on Torch Ones. River Forge.
Gotta go harder.